country closer and closer toward authoritarianism. I'm talking about a man who threatens to arrest and jail his political opponents. Yeah, right here in the United States of America. Not debate political opponents, not respectfully disagree with opponents. You oppose me, we're going to prosecute you. This is a man who is deploying the U.S. military, our armed forces, into democratic cities and allowing masked ICE agents to pick people up off the streets and throw them into vans without due process and take them to God knows where. I'm talking about a president who has sued virtually every major media outlet because he cannot tolerate criticism, who has taken funds away from PBS and NPR because he doesn't want objective reporting about what his policies are doing. And this is a man who is actively encouraging his multi-billionaire friends to buy up more and more of the media so that he will have a media friendlier to him. This is a man who has extorted funds from law firms and is withholding federal funding from states that voted against him. Can you imagine that? There has never been a president, Republican or Democrat, who did not understand that he was president of the United States. Oh, the people in Utah voted against a Democratic president. We're not going to fund them, give them the funds that they are entitled to. That's never been the case. And this guy is open. Trump is quite open. Oh, Mamdani is going to be elected mayor of New York City. Well, you're not going to get federal funds. Unheard of. Illegal, unconstitutional. And because we have a president who does not believe in the rule of law, we have just seen, right now, we're experiencing literally this moment, we have a president who is illegally withholding $5.5 billion in emergency SNAP funds, nutrition funds, from 42 million Americans, including 16 million children. The Congress put money into a fund to make sure that if the government shuts down, there will be funding for the millions of people who depend upon SNAP funds, so that children in America and their parents and their grandparents will not go hungry in the richest country in the world. And Trump says, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to withhold the funds. But then he announced, changed his mind, and he announced he would comply with the court orders. He told them that he had to release the funds. Okay, I'll comply with those orders and release the funds. And then he announced this morning, that he was not going to release the funds and would allow children in this country to go hungry. But wait a minute. A few hours later, a spokesperson for the White House said that he would comply with the court's order. Withhold funds, release funds. Withhold funds, release funds, all within a period of a few days. Does anyone wonder why faith in our government now is so very low? Mr. President, let us be clear. This government shutdown now in its 35th day did not happen by accident. In the U.S. Senate, it takes 60 votes to fund the federal government. 60 votes. Republicans have 53 members. The Democratic caucus has 47. That means Republicans must negotiate with Democrats to move the budget forward. This is what has always happened until now. Common sense. You don't have 60 votes, you've got to sit down and negotiate with the minority. That's what Republicans have done. That's what Democrats have done in the past. But right now, for the first time in modern history, Republicans are simply refusing to come to the table and negotiate. What they are basically saying, it is our way or the highway. Yeah, we need 60 votes, but we're not going to you. You have to come to us. This is the way it will be. To make matters worse, the Republican contempt for negotiations is so bad, so absurd, that the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, has given his chamber, House of Representatives, a 6-week paid vacation. They're not here in Washington, D.C. We're in the middle of a government shutdown. Millions of federal employees are not getting paid right now. They are wondering how they're going to feed their families. Federal employees are going to food banks, worried about paying the mortgages. Right now, millions of Americans are receiving notices from insurance companies, and their insurance premiums are rising precipitously, double, in some cases tripling. And as I mentioned, people are worried about whether or not they're going to get their food stamps and other nutrition programs. That's what's going on. But the House of Representatives is not in town. They're on a paid vacation. How absurd, how insulting is that? So the bottom line, though, Mr. President, is really, what is this whole conflict about? Democrats accusing Republicans, Republicans accusing Democrats, media does its thing. What really are the issues that we are talking about? So let me tell you what, in my view, is going on. I think almost everybody in the country understands that we have an economy today in which the very wealthiest people in this country, the oligarchs who were sitting right behind Trump in his inauguration, multi-billionaires, they have never, ever had it so good. They're making huge amounts of money. But at the same time, as the very richest people in America are becoming richer, Trump and my Republican colleagues want to pass a budget that throws 15 million low-income and working-class Americans off the health care they have by slashing Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act by $1 trillion. On one hand, they want to give massive tax breaks, $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%, and they're going to pay for that by cutting Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act by $1 trillion, throwing 15 million people off the health care they have. Mr. President, it is no great secret that well before Trump, before this whole shutdown and cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, no secret to any American that our current health care system is broken, it is dysfunctional, and it is cruel. Today, despite spending twice as much per capita as almost any other, the people of any other major country on earth, 85 million Americans are uninsured or underinsured. Before these cuts,
what kind of secret